You're watching the Sega Holic.
Besides video games, hardware or software, another great thing to collect is magazines or books on video games. This is my original copy of Nintendo Power that I sent out for in the mail. I used to have the newsletters that you also sent out for, and I really shudder to think how much those are worth today. Always kept my magazines in these plastic baggies, and you can see just how well kept it's been. The great thing about these magazines is it really brings you back, and there's a lot of nostalgia factor in this. Here's Zelda. I believe this is Link, the second Zelda. First issue actually has a pull-out map. Here's looks like here's some tips on Castlevania. Played the shit out of this game also, and the thing about Castlevania is that it made me into a huge Konami fan. I played most of the NES Konami games, like Russian Attack, Contra obviously, Jackal, Gradius, but I remember going through Contra. Here's Contra. I remember finishing the game without dying on like a normal, which is like a huge deal for me back then. Again, I wish we had like videos so we can show proof. This is my original copy of my first ever EGM. EGM was introduced to me by a friend. Here we have the review section. Looks like Steve, Ed, Martin, and Sushi X was the reviewers. If you're like me, most of your gaming purchases were mainly based on these reviews. Thunder Force 3, oh my god. Let's see what it got. Can't believe we got a 7 here. Super Monaco GP, unbelievably, got 10s and 9s. Thunder Force 3 was one of my favorite games ever. Wow, Strider. I can't believe we got 9s only for Strider. Unfucking real. Should have been 10s. Amstrad unveils game machine at London CS Expo. What? Mega Play. This was the EGM's version of a Sega magazine. The famous. Here's Strider. Check out the font choice. Unfucking real. It looks like we have the first mention of John Madden football, which originated on the Genesis, the March 91 issue of EGM. Get my original copy. Who's that guy? When I saw something like this, I had to get this game. In this case, it's Gaiares. Finishing a game for me was one of my top feats for video games. That and finishing Ikari Warriors on NES, which took 10 million continues, but fuck Ikari Warriors. Air Buster, another game that I cherish. Fucking awesome game. I remember having the freaking glove, which stank up real quick. Chronic the Hedgehog. An exciting new character that is destined to capture the hearts and players everywhere. The speedy little rascal is just too cool for words, faster than a flash. He collects rings and runs long, but watch out for pointy spikes. No shit. My first ever RPG, and they showcased everybody but Nay. What the fuck? It was the hottest chick in the game. Unreal. This is my other collection. Game fan. Those fucking biased fuckers. Gamers Republic. Here's Next Generation, which was the best written gaming magazine during the mid to late 90s. Awesome magazine. I would consider this again the best magazine, gaming magazine ever. Here's a pile of other magazines that I collected. Most of the magazines that I collected back then were magazines with games that I like this cover of Tips and Tricks with Akira on the front. I'm a huge VF fan. There's a copy of Game Now, Game Pro, the video games magazine for kids. It's crap. Huge Panzer fan. Had to get this copy of Xbox Nation. Another VF Tips and Tricks cover. Game On, another VF cover. The VF guide. Fucking two of them. Unreal. This is my very first strategy guide. Got it at the supermarket. I got this right after I got my Saturn. My Shenmue guide. Another VF related cover. PlayStation magazine. Yep, here on the front again. This is actually an awesome cover. I would make a great poster. Another great thing to do maybe is to, scan this and make this into a poster. GMR, this was given free to, shoot, where was it? I think it was Babbage's or Software Etc. It's actually a nice cover. But my creme de la creme is actually my Japanese Sega Saturn magazine. I have the complete collection with all the CDs, 2 special CD magazines. So this is a full collection. You have some great covers. I remember getting this magazine from the local Japanese bookstore. I used to run this website called The Segaholic. This was back again in the early 90s. And The Segaholic was actually on GeoCities or Angel Fire. Originally on Angel Fire, then GeoCities. But I started around here. This may have been my first issue from that bookstore. And I used to scan these magazines and post them on the internet. All these pictures, some of these reviews. Sort of like the format that you get with that website. I don't know if it's still on. The gaming box or the treasure box, something like that. But I actually got my that format from I think it was TK's Sega Saturn page. And I surfed these websites with the net link. This was before we got our computer, our Windows 95 computer. But yeah, I have the full set of these Sega Saturn magazines and most of the Dreamcast magazines, all the way up to 2000, early 2000, when I moved to Arizona and had to stop. But I was able to finish my Sega Saturn magazine collection through Yahoo Japan auctions. Here we got our first exposure to the Dreamcast through this logo here. I didn't even notice this until years later because inside the magazine it makes no reference to the Dreamcast. It was only until the next issue that they released pictures of the Dreamcast. I remember getting this from the bookstore, the Japanese bookstore, and being super excited because again at this time we had no released images on the net. At this time I was working for hardcoregaming.com with Ed Cruz and Travis Poole, and I scanned these as quickly as possible to get this up to the website. It was the first website to actually post images of the Dreamcast to the web. Again, there was no images of the Dreamcast up yet on the internet. You can't believe how excited I was just to see these images. It just blew my mind. Here's the official Sega's magazine from Japan. And my collection of MOOCs. which are magazine books, or was that strategy guides. There's Virtua Fighter 3 and a whole bunch of Virtua Fighter stuff. The red and green book, the white book, and all those other books. Here's a great arcade magazine, Arcadia, obviously with a VF cover. I used to buy these from Amazon Japan or some other online Japanese bookstores. Here's a great collector book. Bought these brand new from Amazon Japan, and this is the full. This contains the full history of Sega gaming consoles, all the games, all the consoles. If you can find this book, I think it's pretty expensive now. This is the book to get. And here's the a similar book, but on their arcade history. Again, showcases all the arcade stuff that they had up to this point. Here's Play Magazine, which I think was an offshoot of Gamers Republic. Later, I think Dave Halverson, who did was that Game Fan Magazine, then did Gamers Republic, and then moved on to Play Magazine. Here's a Virtual Lawn related book. Huge VO fan. Here's some other Sega related Japanese magazines. Saturn Fan and Dorimaga. Here we have a Dorimaga cover. I believe this is Ren from Shenmue. But I was a huge Shenmue fan. Thank God they're making Shenmue 3. If I died without that game, being made, my life wouldn't be complete, I think. But before, back in the day, I actually made a how-to on, how to activate Fang Mei's birthday on Shenmue 2. I don't know if the website is still up. That I'll have to check. But one other thing about these magazines, if you want to protect them, you can get these baggies from comic stores. And you can also get backers like these if you want to keep them more rigid. If you want to find back issues on these magazines, pretty much the only way to find them now is going to Yahoo Japan auctions. Use something like Bai service or From Japan or Rinkia. I use all three in the past. I'm using Bai now, which is a ton cheaper on the shipping as well as the fees.
If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and please, subscribe.
But yeah, that's it for now. See you guys next time, man. Peace.